Welcome everyone to the MMGA podcast, episode 3, where I have a deep dive conversation with Susan Gallagher, who's a good friend of mine for the last couple years. She's a great actor and a wonderful person. She's known for Cobra Kai, Loki, Fast Charlie, A Taste of Love. She's been in a bunch of movies, and I really hope you enjoy our conversation. And we've known each other for a couple years now.
Yeah.
We met on a film that you were producing, which was, the name changed.
Right, it was The Cleaner.
Yeah.
And then we changed it to The Service. It was a short film that I produced and also co-starred with.
Yeah. And I remember I actually got a call that morning.
Oh, God, that's
from
right.
One of your co-stars in
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. Yeah.
What is his name? I can see him right now.
Last name starts with
Perez?
Perez, yeah, Rick Perez.
Rick Perez,
I was gonna
yes.
say R, yeah,
yes.
Rick Perez.
Rick Perez.
I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. Amazing guy.
I know, I love him.
I've done some projects with him too.
Yeah.
Just little stuff, you know,
Right,
that we produce,
right.
but
Yeah.
super good dude.
Yeah, I can remember we had a last minute emergency and a crew member couldn't show up, and we were like, what are we going to do? Because I already had the location. You know, I had Catherine Dyer coming in, who was my other lead, and you know, she was like bucket list. I want her to be in my movie, and so I knew that we had to do this, and it was also bad weather. It had been snowing that morning.
Freezing.
Yeah, and Jennifer Dunn, my writer and director, was like, Susan, maybe we need to push this, maybe we need to push it. But I had looked at the weather and it was going to clear up.
Yeah.
I said, no, we got to do this. And so I had put out messages to a few people, and I put out a message to Rick Perez, and he came through, and you came through, and you were wonderful. You were experienced. You had, equipment. You jumped right in. You jumped right in, and I thank you very much, and I really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you. It's funny because that's kind of how this industry works, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of that, like, last minute.
Last
Who do you
minute.
know?
Yeah,
Like, what are you gonna
life happens, right? Things happen.
Exactly.
And you have to adapt and adjust very quickly and just figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. And then you changed the name.
Yes.
But I still have the original shirt.
The t-shirt that I got everybody?
Yeah, the black tee.
Yeah, they were cute, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I wear it occasionally now.
Good, thank you.
I do, yeah. And people go, I've seen that. I'm like, no, you haven't. Because it's not called that.
Or just say, well, what'd you think?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, totally. I know you have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
so
pretty
cute.
funny.
I love that. That's a great story.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? Kind of what's on the horizon? What are you working on? I know you're always like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, like you and a lot of us.
You have to these days.
Yeah, you really do. I am here in Atlanta right now working on a Lifetime movie, and I'm just so excited about it. It's Swirl Films.
Okay.
Keith Neal, executive producer, and a fabulous female director, Kelly Callie, who's just an absolute doll to work with. And so the energy is just so positive, and not only is the crew professional and very efficient, and they move quickly, she moves quickly, but they're so nice, and everybody's so happy and fun. You know, they love to cut up and have a good time, and it's just been a great experience. We have another week, and I'm off today, so I'm glad this worked out. But,
yeah, me too. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've got a really cool star. I'm not quite sure what all I can say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't break some news that you're not allowed to. This is going up soon. So.
Right.
Yeah,
but I think that everybody's going to love it. It's a great story of struggle and redemption, and just a fabulous lead actress that we have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I think it's really what I love about you is that you break out of the normal characters that people would think you would play.
Right. That's an understatement, right?
Yeah, seriously. So you think, you always think when you see a certain type of person, they get typecast.
Yes.
And some people do. I mean,
Most do.
The Chris Farleys, most do.
Most do.
And I play, a police officer or detective.
Yes. And you know what?
Week,
That's great for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They find that little niche and they make a living at it. So good for them. But that's just not the route I wanted to take.
Yeah. So what is like an ideal character for you? What do you enjoy doing the most, would you say?
Well, I mean, at this point in my career, I'm best known for playing that sassy and filthy homeless character, Lynn, in Cobra Kai, who is digging out the trash cans and giving Johnny Lawrence a hard time. So, I'm really grateful to be part of something that is so special to so many people.
It is.
And the fans are just fantastic, and a lot of them, were big fans of Karate Kid, and we have wrapped on our, obviously wrapped on our last season 6, and
Sure.
Part 1 and 2, have aired, and we're waiting for part 3 in February. So, maybe Lynn will show up, maybe she won't, but check it out. And, everybody's loving it. And, it's been a blessing for me. So I'm real grateful. I did this tough warrior in Marvel's Loki, opposite Tom Hiddleston, where I got to blast him, and I'm unrecognizable in Cobra Kai, but some people recognize me more easily in Loki.
Sure.
When they hear my voice, they know it's me, and then they're like, "Yeah, that's her." So I really do like those outrageous characters. I like the multi-layered, multi-dimensional women who, have struggles and have challenges, and I love playing crazy. I can play crazy. My acting teacher in New York City, Zena Jasper, used to say that Gallagher can play crazy better than anybody she's ever known. So I don't know what that says about me, but outrageous is probably what I would rather say than just crazy or manipulative or zany or the drug addict, the alcoholic, the character type roles. I'm actually more of a character actress.
That's fun. And for people that don't know you, you are just the sweetest, most kind, one of the most kind people that I've ever met. Seriously.
Thank you, Travis.
And what's crazy too is, I think people will appreciate this that are watching, that do make movies, is like every time I text you, you text me back almost immediately. You know how rare that is?
No.
It's crazy rare.
Is it?
I guess not everybody, but most people are just not looking at their phones, or they're, obviously when you're on set, you're not looking at your phone very much.
Right.
But you are so easy to communicate with.
Well, I'm glad. I try to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you know what I think that comes from too, is that you're always doing your own stuff.
Yeah.
So you're in producer mode.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, as a
and you got to be
have
open.
To yeah.
Yeah. And I do try to be open to new opportunities, to new people, new friendships, new people to collaborate with, and I think that when you close yourself off, you could be missing opportunities. And I try to be open, whether it's in my acting or in my producing, and try to have a positive attitude. And I don't want to get my expectations up too high, because I like to be a realist and be very grounded.
Yeah.
But I also like to put some positive energy out there, and you have a very positive energy. Now, if you didn't, I might not be texting you back so quickly.
That could be true too.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think there's pretty obvious dichotomy in any business.
Yeah.
But specifically the entertainment business.
Right.
When you're, you meet people and you're like, okay, I know I don't want to work with that person again.
Right.
Or you meet them and you're like, okay, this was a joy to work with. And when we were on set, just like, I think because you're producing that, the culture was really good, and you kind of hire people that are like you.
Yes.
But that was just like a really fun and easy set to be on.
Well, good.
Outside of being extremely cold outside and windy. That one.
We did have a little bit of a blizzard, and my friend's beautiful home that she opened up and let us use, because she was out of town or something, had no power and had no heat, no power. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, my crew was like the best ever, because somebody had a generator, and you guys just worked it out. There were only 3 guys in the whole crew, I think, and you did everything. You guys did everything.
Yeah.
You and Kendrick and Therese and Travis.
Yeah, he was. He had a great grip truck, man. He had so much equipment.
Kendrick.
No.
JB?
The
Torres?
key grip. Yeah.
Okay.
JB had everything. And I didn't have to bring very much. I just brought like you know, a gaffer pack, you know, a key grip pack, and that's all I really did. And he had literally everything, so it was easier for me, which is good because I was late. It's not like I could pack up my truck. I would have been in
I mean, you had
2-3 hours late.
An hour notice.
Yeah.
Hey, can you be here? Okay, come on.
He's like, yeah, they're filming today. I'm like,
like right now we're waiting on you.
It's like 9 a.m. dude. What do you want me to do?
I love it. I think I sent Rick a t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
I think I did.
Nice. Yeah.
And put him in my thanks in the credits. And I think you got an extra credit too for special thanks or something.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. No, but that was a good shoot too because even though it was freezing, Jennifer Dunn, who was she was our writer and producer, and Julie O'Hora was our director. So that's the first time I had ever worked with Julie. And they were just lovely.
She was very funny.
Yes.
Yeah, Julie.
And you know, I hired her on another a POC, a proof of concept that I did up in Buffalo, New York. I took her with me. So she's directed 2 things for me, and she's, you know, she's getting some other work and having some good things happen in her life because she is very talented, and she does have such a wonderful energy and a great eye, and she's very focused, and I'm happy for her. And Jennifer too. Jennifer's wonderful.
Yeah.
I had met Jennifer Dunn because the Atlanta Film Festival had called me during COVID and asked me if I would do like a virtual read of a screenplay or something, one of the program directors. And I said, absolutely. He was a big fan of Cobra Kai, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I did that on Zoom and got to know him a little bit. And so I came back and asked him, hey, do you know a female writer that does thrillers and stuff? And she had won Best Screenplay that year. And so he connected me with Jennifer Dunn. So that's how you can connect with other people in this industry.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't afford to pay a big known writer or anything. And I said, who is up and coming director? Who's an up and coming writer that I want to...
She wrote and directed The Service.
She wrote The Service and helped produce The Service.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, and Julie directed The Service.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got my wires crossed.
That's okay. I did too.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, you have 2.5 million credits on IMDb. Like, when did you start acting, and like what actually got you interested? Has it always been your dream, or?
It has kind of always been my dream, but my mother was in the entertainment industry. She was a jazz musician and singer, and she, you know, worked with all the greats like Mel Torme and Tony Bennett and Dinah Shore, and so I think I grew up with a little bit of the bug for the business. She retired from that once she got married and started having kids, and I don't know. I think that it was just kind of meant to be. I didn't really start pursuing acting until I was married and moved to Florida, because I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and right outside of Charlotte in Gastonia. And we didn't really have anything like that. I had done a little bit of modeling, print work, but that was it. So my husband encouraged me, because he's born and raised in a little tiny town, Lake Wells, Florida, and you know, I liked a little bigger city. So I started going to, I think I first started in Tampa, taking an acting class like once or twice a week. And then when the kids were growing up, you know, they were in it, and we would do commercials, and you know, I had a couple of agents, and we would do all the theme park stuff, because back in the day, in Orlando and Tampa,
a lot of live stuff. Yeah,
there was a lot of commercial work down there, because people would come, especially in the wintertime, to Florida to get out of the cold, bring their kids or families or whatever. So, you know, I just had a blast with it, and the doors just continued to open. And I continued to study while taking care of my kids, because they were my priority. And then my first big break was recurring on a WB show that was produced by Aaron Spelling, the late great Aaron Spelling. Yeah. If you even know who he is, you may not be old enough, but he had 90210 and a lot of those really, really big shows. And he handpicked me to be the potential love interest to Gregory Harrison's character in this show called Safe Harbor. and it was a family series, and it shot up in Jacksonville, Florida, which was about a 4-hour drive for me. So anyway, it was created by the same creator as Seventh Heaven, if you remember that very popular show. Jessica Biel.
Sure.
Yeah, so anyway, Brenda Hampton. We did one season, but we were opposite Monday Night Football. It was really an 8 p.m., needed an 8 p.m. slot because we had a younger audience and they were in bed at 9. So, they pulled us after one season, but that was such a great experience, and Gregory was wonderful, and I made some good friends on that show. And then the kids and I started going to Los Angeles every pilot season after that.
Okay.
And we would live there 3 or 4 months, and my husband, God bless him, would fly out every couple of weeks, and that was just a wonderful experience.
You'd be just with the kids.
Yeah. Somebody had to have a real job. So my husband's business is in Lake Wells, and but we lived at the Oakwood Apartments. I mean, they went to the Studio Academy there, like
That's awesome.
so many other kids. A lot of them make it big in the business. But you hear a lot of horror stories about kids in the business. But if the parent is stable, it makes a big difference.
And it's present.
Yeah, and you're not depending on your child to pay your rent.
Right.
So, and I wasn't, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
And we did that for years and years.
Yeah, when I was talking to Matt last week, he was actually a dialogue coach for Nickelodeon.
Oh, wow.
And he did Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn, or whatever that little kid show.
Yeah.
There's been a million of them. But he said it was nice because he got to work with the kids and, create a good environment for them.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes
some
it's, like you said,
structure
sometimes
and,
it's not great.
Right.
But he said, he felt like that was one of his favorite jobs he ever had, even though he wasn't acting.
Yeah.
But he was still getting to teach it.
Yes, he was part of that creative process.
And he was he was part of the creative process of Nickelodeon too.
Yeah.
So, obviously you've done a bunch of stuff. What is kind of been your favorite projects? I know that's a tough question for a lot of people. Do you remember a project where you were like, this is what I need to do for the rest of my life?
The most, I think, gratifying role that I've ever had is actually airing right now.
Okay.
And it's a Christmas movie called Mary Good Enough.
Really?
And it's not Hallmark. It is about a real family with real issues, and a mom and daughter who have struggles.
Yeah.
The mom's a bit neurotic. I play the mom, Carol, and I just fell in love with that character. I love the writing. It's a female writer, Caroline Keene, and director Dan Kennedy. And I'll tell you something really interesting about that casting is I received a random email from this guy named Dan Kennedy. And he said, you probably don't remember me. I don't even know if this is still your email, but I met you at a callback at Ripley Greer Studios in New York City in 2017.
Wow.
He said, we did not go with you, which we regret. But I'm doing another movie, and I would love for you to read the script because there's a part that I think you would love. And I was like, wow, okay, this could be meant to be.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be open. I said, send me the script.
That's incredible.
I fell in love with the script. It's so good.
So who do you play in that?
I play the mom,
Okay.
Carol. I play the mom, and you can see it free. It's on, most of the streaming platforms. It's called Mary Good Enough. Instead of Merry Christmas, it's Mary Good Enough.
Right.
So
what about
it's a dark comedy.
Yeah, what about it was so gratifying for you?
I think the character, she struggles. She's had a hard time. She's divorced. Joel Murray from Mad Men plays my ex-husband, who's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I look him up, right?
Yes.
And Ray Spielberg and Sawyer Spielberg, Stephen's son and daughter-in-law.
Wow.
They're in it. Ray is the star. She's the female lead. She plays my daughter. And just the nicest couple. Crazy talented, both of them in their own right, and so sweet and so humble. And that was a great experience because Caroline Keene and Dan Kennedy are so wonderful and have such a great caring energy. And Caroline, my daughter's name is Caroline, so I immediately kind of connected with Caroline,
Sure.
who is the writer and the co-director. And I wanted to bring some truth to this character, not only for her, but for the character. And I just, she's not a bad person. She loves her children, and she just wants them to like her, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's almost like she just can't do anything right. I know. I mean, you can't fit one more thing in a refrigerator because she's just a hot mess kind of person. But,
kinda.
she is.
Yeah.
But, she has so much food because she wants to make sure that everybody has anything they want. So her heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
And, I loved her, and I think it's going to end up being a classic.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because most people play kind of themselves, maybe just a little bit different version of themselves. But you play people that are really totally outside of your normal character, I feel like. And that is just so interesting to see because most people don't do that.
I love doing that. I'm challenged by doing that. And, I've known people like that. There's a part of me that, can relate to her, and she smokes, and I used to smoke back in the day. I smoked cigarettes, and sorry if people don't like that, but she does.
Yeah.
She says just one a day.
It's not that bad.
Right. But you can look on my Instagram because it's kind of all over my Instagram right now, and there's a funny clip of Ray Spielberg and I in the car, and I've got I guess I can tell it because it's out there. I've got my coffee cup on top of the car, and we're leaving, and I'm driving, and there's Sawyer. Spielberg plays her boyfriend in the movie, so it was really cute to see them having to be challenged that this is the first time they've ever kissed, or this is the first time they've ever, hung out together and stuff, because they're really married in real life. But so I'm like, there he is. She's like, what, Mom? What? Hush. No. And then I turn and the coffee cup falls off of the car and it breaks all over. And I'm like, oh, well. And she's like, oh my gosh, Mother, we need to pick this up. And I just keep driving, and it's funny.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Well, the thing is, and this is what we like to say, is if you love Christmas, you will love Mary Good Enough. Yeah. And if you hate Christmas, you will love Mary Good Enough.
So we actually don't celebrate Christmas. So when I met my wife, I celebrated my whole life growing up. I have some amazing memories from Christmas.
Right.
But my wife, when we met, she was like, I have a conviction that I don't want to celebrate. I'm like, why? And she started diving into like kind of the roots of it and stuff like that. And that's not what the podcast is about, but we actually don't. So maybe it's a movie that my wife and I can meet in the middle on.
Maybe so.
Because I miss Christmas
Hallmark.
a lot, right? But exactly.
It's real, and I think, the feedback that I've gotten from people is that they love it because it's a real family, with imperfections and family dysfunction, but it's funny, it'll make you laugh and it might make you cry, but it's a dark comedy. And
well, I think Hallmark has a very specific lane.
Yeah, and I love Hallmark. I've done a Hallmark movie.
And you are doing, right?
And lots of Lifetime movies and that kind of thing. But this one is
And I'm just saying, they have such a specific style.
Yes, they have a format, and you got to check all those boxes.
You gotta check all the boxes.
Listen, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies because they're always going to have a happy ending, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And my daughter-in-law loves them, and lots of people love Hallmark movies. So
yeah. So that's definitely something I want to check out. What else is kind of going on? Like I said, I know you always have a bunch of stuff going on. What other projects are out now or coming out soon?
Right.
Like, what else can we see you in?
Right. Well, there's another Christmas movie that I did a few years ago that's out that runs every Christmas called The Christmas Contract, and it stars Cheryl Ladd and Hillary Burton. If you know who she is, married to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. She was on One Tree Hill. Anyway, I play Cheryl Ladd's sidekick, and that's a cute Lifetime movie, but I think it's on all those streaming channels now. And but I did do a Hallmark movie, not a Christmas movie, but it's called A Taste of Love, and it stars Erin Cahill, who is a big fan favorite on the Hallmark Channel, and I play Martin Cove from Cobra Kai, who plays John Kreese. Cincy John Kreese, I play his wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and his son, Marty Cove's wife, Marty Cove's son, Jesse Cove, is the male lead. So that's out, and that's really, really a fun movie because you got 3 cast members from Cobra Kai in this very nice, very sweet movie called A Taste of Love.
Now, is that indie? Is that Hallmark?
That's Hallmark.
Okay.
That's Hallmark. That is the Hallmark movie. Yeah, gotcha. Taste of Love. But, you know, I got a chance to work with Pierce Brosnan in Fast Charlie, which is an indie film directed by the great Philip Noyce from Australia.
You said Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah,
oh,
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. But I just wrapped on an action proof of concept with Sam Medina down in New Orleans. I've known Sam for years, and his wife CJ stars in it, and it's called Doe, D-O-E, and I think it's going to do really, really well. Sam's all about the action, and he's a very talented filmmaker.
Okay.
And works 24/7. So if anybody's going to do it, Sam Medina will do it.
Now, is that just one that you're acting in?
I'm acting in it. Yeah. No, I'm not producing. I think I may be associate producer on that.
Okay.
But I'm not executive producing. I mean the movie that we just wrapped on, that we're in post production on, that I am executive producer on, called My Mother, the Madam, and it stars me and Gina Vittori, Philip Boyd, and Isabella Hoffman, and hopefully that's gonna. We hope to have a trailer mid-January, and I think it's going to do really well. So that's been my biggest project.
Yeah.
Is this one that's coming up. So I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, I'm here in Atlanta working on a Lifetime movie. So, yeah, it's
crazy.
It's crazy. It's good.
Crazy.
It's good.
Now, you, I know we kind of talked how busy you stay. And it's because you're not just acting. Obviously, you're doing several other things.
Right.
What's kind of been your experience in the last, well, really since COVID, right?
Yes.
When COVID hit, things were crazy for a while.
Yeah.
Not many people were working.
No.
What's kind of been your experience since then? Have you seen a recovery, or what are you seeing?
Well, you know, we had COVID that shut everything down, and then we were hit with the strike.
Right.
You know, so the strike, it's just, you know, I'm very grateful because my husband, you know, has his own business, his family's business, and is not dependent upon my paycheck to pay the bills.
Right.
Because, you know, this business, as you know, is so unpredictable.
Very.
And, you know, you have your highs and your lows. And, I mean, there's just no way. I mean, and most of my friends, I mean, they all have to have other gigs, whether it's teaching acting, or, you know, have a little business where they're putting actors on tape for auditions, you know, or they're waiting tables, or they're a bartender.
You say you have that business, or you just know people that have that business?
I just know people who have that business.
So are you teaching at all, or do you?
No, I'm not. I mean, I have mentored people.
Sure.
I like to mentor
Yeah.
more than teaching. So there are a couple of young women who I do like talking to, and you know, trying to share my experience or strength and hope or whatever that I may have in this business, so they don't have to learn everything the hard way, because I've had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And you know, and even, I mean, for anybody, I like to share my any little bit of knowledge that I might have, because I've appreciated other people, and still do, who share with me. But yeah, our business has been hit so hard.
Yeah.
And you know, just like on this film I'm working on, and the nice Atlanta-based talent that I have met. I mean, it's been hard. It's been such a struggle since the strike for them to get back on their feet financially. And you know, usually there's more work, and you know, you get that momentum going. So that's one reason why, you know, back in 2014 I decided to form Her Little Red Productions, my own production company, because I was starting to age out of a lot of roles, and kind of in that no man's land. And I didn't have the look really to play the grandmother. No. But you know, I was getting too old to play, you know, some of the moms. Certainly couldn't play the young mom, and the roles just were, you know, they're written more for men. It's like 1 to 5, one woman for every 5 roles for men. So I just decided not to sit around and wait any longer for my agent to call, or, you know, and not depend on anyone to give me a career, to give me opportunities. And I finally got to the age where I wasn't afraid to fail. And I was inspired by some of my friends in Florida and up here too, and in New York and LA, who don't, have big budgets or anything like that, but they started making their own films too. And I said, well, gosh, if they can do it, and they don't have a degree from Tisch and at NYU or Southern Cal or whatever. So it's been a learning experience, and every production of my own, I learned so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I first started, I would do background work purposefully, so that I could watch what everybody else was doing.
Right.
Because as background, you don't have to have any focus, and you're not really performing very much. You're sitting like this and not making noise, right?
Yes.
Pantomiming or whatever.
Yes.
So, but I would obsessively watch the crew and the cast.
Yeah.
Because acting was like my first love. That's what I enjoy more than anything.
Right.
But when I started, acting, I realized, just like you, like nobody's gonna make me famous. Nobody's gonna make my career or make me, the money that I need to make to support me or my family. So I need to kind of break outside the box, and that's when I really started to obsess over the filmmaking part of it, and I started writing and directing and producing. But I know you're also doing a lot of those things, and I feel like that's kind of the new triple threat, right? It used to be acting, singing, dancing.
Yes.
Now it's really acting, directing, writing, producing, all these things.
Yeah. I do like producing. I mean, acting is my passion. But I do like producing too. I like executive producing better than just producing, which is very different.
Yeah.
So, if I could just learn how to make a little bit of money to pay to do more projects, and then I can hire people like you and provide employment.
I know.
That's would be a wonderful thing for me to be able to do that. And this film that we did in Columbus, Ohio, because there was my writer kind of partnered with a production guy up there, and they had a nice, I think 40% tax incentive.
Yeah.
So that's where we went, and that every crew member probably came up to me and thanked me personally for giving them a job. Where they didn't have to drive, or they could be home with their family at night after a good long 12-hour day minimum, right? In the business. But I mean, we just want to work.
Yeah.
People who are in this, the majority of the people in this business, I find they're in this business because they love it. They love the creative outlet. They love the the camaraderie. They love being on set, and it's just a cool kind of job to have, and they just love it. They love movies and all that kind of thing.
A lot of cinephiles on.
Really, and we just all want to work. So it does give me deep satisfaction to be able to provide work for people in this business, whether it's talent or crew. And I like to take care of my crew and my talent. Like I'm going to be in post-production on my first horror flick with a woman that lives in Atlanta, a filmmaker named Lou Simon. But we're shooting up in North Carolina, and she had wanted to shoot earlier, and I said, no, we cannot shoot in the winter in North Carolina. We've got a lot of exterior shots because it's so cold. I said, how am I going to keep my crew and my cast warm in the middle of nowhere in the mountains of North Carolina?
Yeah.
So, because she's from Miami and from here. So I like to take care of my people, and I want it to be a good experience. Like you were saying earlier on the set of The Cleaner, which is now The Service, that it was a good experience.
It was. Yeah, it was.
That's important to me.
That's great.
As a filmmaker, as an executive producer.
Yeah. What do you find is the hardest part of making a film?
The personalities. Putting, as an executive producer, it's not just about, making the investment and getting the investment kind of thing. It's putting out fires. And if you don't know other people that you're working with, it takes a while. And that's why so many filmmakers work with the same people over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
And you may think that you know somebody, just by spending a few hours with them.
Yeah,
but then after you spend several days and, a couple of weeks or whatever, or even just go through a whole project with them,
and
you really do get to
tension moments.
Yes, and you do get to know people, the good and the bad and the ugly. And we all have our struggles, and, when we can either work it out and communicate and then move past it and move forward. Or, some people choose to sit in the problem and not get to a solution. So I'm very solution oriented.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty direct. So I like other people who are direct. And if, you have to have a thick skin in this business or any business, but this business in particular, especially if you're an actor, you better have the skin of a rhino.
Yes.
Because there is so much rejection and disappointment, and but then there's a lot of joy and fulfillment and laughter and fun and living the dream kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember growing up, I was athletic and I was pretty good looking kid, and you would think that would make it easy for me to fit in, but I just never felt like I belonged anywhere. And I didn't know where I would belong until one day I got a call from my instructor, my martial arts instructor. And he said, hey, this small production company wanted you to be in one of their movies. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, they saw you doing martial arts, and they're like, we want you to be in this little action movie that they're making. And as soon as I got on set, I'm like, here's my people.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting. I didn't know that I felt so displaced for all those years.
Yeah.
Even doing martial arts and all that stuff, competing on the world stage, all that stuff, it just was not the same. And when I started performing with Team Pilsung and I started touring and doing all that, the action and everything, that was like the first taste of it. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then when I got on set, it was game over.
Yeah.
I could never look back.
Right, right.
And I know you love acting. It sounds like you love producing, and you're doing a lot more of that. Outside of the personalities, what is the struggle as a filmmaker, as a producer, in that actual process? Like,
getting the money.
Probably, obviously, getting money is.
You got to have the money. You got to come up with your budget.
Yeah.
And then get the money, and hopefully you hire the right team, the right people. Around you, and then hopefully you hire the right cast and crew. It takes patience. That's one thing that I have learned this past year, and I've been doing this for a while, is that it's a slow process. Because you have your idea, you have your story, and then you have your pre-production, then you have your production, and then you have your post-production, and then you have your marketing, and it is not an overnight thing.
Oh my gosh, it can take for very big directors.
Years and years on projects.
The project they want to make the most, like a Ben Stiller.
You hear about, oh man, I've had this for 10, 12 years.
It's crazy.
So I think patience is something that I have accepted that's just part of this. And I didn't really know that. Because I'm kind of a push, hustle kind of gal. And, you got to sit back and be patient, I
hate that word.
I know.
But the whole industry is hurry up and wait. Right?
It is hurry up and wait. It's so hurry up and wait.
Yeah, and sometimes, I will feel like I'm this close to a breakthrough, but what does that mean? Like, what is this close mean? That could mean tomorrow, and it could mean 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and it's like when you're looking for distribution, when you're looking for money, when you're looking for talent, even anything you're doing in the filmmaking process can take no time at all, or it can take a year.
I know, and it's maddening. It can be maddening, and I think too, for me, acting and producing and this business is a big part of my life. It is my passion, but I have a life. And for me, it's been very important for me to have a life and, to have my family and my friends. And I know some people who merge them really well, but because, my kids are no longer in the business, And, my husband's not in the business, and most of the people that I live around are not in the business. So I have a very separate kind of life, even though I have great support, or I couldn't do it if I didn't have their support. And my friends have been very supportive. But, for me, I have had to keep that balance. And, I try my best and do everything I can. But then at the end of the day, I have to just let it go. And if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah.
If the good Lord wants me to have that job, then I'm going to book that job. It's just like with this. I thought, well, I'm going to end out the year. I just did the action thing in New Orleans with Sam Medina, and that was great. But I would like to have booked, another bigger job. And then, when I get this one.
Yeah.
And it was just such a blessing.
That was a blessing.
Yeah, I used to push and hustle more, and I don't know if I'm just getting to the age where I just want to sit back and do the work, put it out there, and then, receive, and whatever is meant to come my way is going to come my way.
Well, that's a maturity that takes time to develop in the industry.
Yes.
Like, that's a maturity.
And in your life, personally,
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned over the last just handful of years was, if you can disconnect yourself from the outcome, you won't be disappointed all the time. I know.
You cannot set yourself up in this business.
For disappointment,
because
failure, and pain.
We have been this close. Mm-hmm. I have been this close so many times. And, I just have to keep my perspective on everything that, this business, you can do it for the rest of your life. It's just like my daughter. She's a wonderful actress and did it for years. But, she's starting a family now.
Right.
And, we're both like, what? It'll be there.
Yeah,
it'll be there. That's right.
Anytime.
That's right. Here I am, an old broad, and I'm still doing it because, I just
some of our
can't not do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. What would you tell somebody? What would you tell somebody that wants to get in the industry right now for the first time?
Oh gosh. You have to want it so badly. You really do, and have something to, to subsidize your income as you're building your resume, and
Yeah, that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was being like, well, I've made a decision that I'm going to be a full-time actor.
Right.
Like, that's not how it works, buddy.
And I'm going to hit it big.
That's not
within this year.
That's not how it works, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, and then, a decade later, you're like, what the heck just happened?
I know.
And you do this gig, that gig, but it's what percent of actors are actually just full time, and that's their whole income? It's 5% maybe.
Right.
It's such a small.
The people that I know personally in the regional markets, which is where we are, we're in a regional market, even though there's a lot going on in Georgia, and Florida and Tennessee. They're all regional markets, and and we're usually expected to work as a local hire. So if there's anybody watching this that is new, you are expected to work as a local hire, which means you pay your own way, you put yourself up, you pay your own food. All of your expenses are on your own because you're supposedly a local, whether you're in Mississippi. And that's where I did the Pierce Bronson thing. We were in
and you worked as a local.
New Orleans in Mississippi, yes.
Wow.
Worked as a local hire. But you know what? And I did so in Mississippi another time on a low budget. And you know who I was in the scene with? Holly Hunter. Oscar award-winning actress, Holly Hunter. So,
but it's worth it sometimes.
Yeah,
what you're saying is it's worth it sometimes.
It's worth the sacrifice, especially if you're in a local, regional, smaller market. Sometimes that's what we have to do, unless you're really, really lucky, or you've got that that one little factor, or that a really, really big agent or manager that's getting you super legit stuff.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't start that way, I'll tell you that much.
No, it doesn't. I mean,
so it's much more modest.
It really does. And I was going to say something else, and I kind of lost my train of thought. So I don't know what it is.
That's what happens to me. Yeah, I always tell people, hey, look, if you don't have to do it,
Yeah.
Like if it's not burning inside of you, then you probably, unless you can completely disconnect and it's like, I want to do background for fun or something like that.
Yeah, and I know people who make a living doing background work because we have to have background players.
You used to be able to do that.
And there's no pressure.
Yeah.
You know, except just don't cause problems. You know, don't complain. If you sign up for that, then that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and background, I think what's nice is I do tell people, like, right in the very beginning, just go watch. Just do what I did. Go be a background and just go watch.
Right.
And see, like, do I really love this?
Yeah.
Can I sit around for 12 hours?
I know.
Can I hurry up and wait?
Yes.
Can I be in holding? Can I
and then maybe never even get on set.
And or get cut out.
Yes,
be
totally.
There for 5 days and literally not be on camera.
That's right. It happens all the time, even for principal players, for SAG people. Yes. And I did non-union work for a long, long time. I used to do a lot of student films and films of my buddies.
Tell me all stories.
You know, that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, we've all ended up on the editing room floor. And still, I mean, you know, I don't know from one day or one project to the next how much of my stuff is going to be in there.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not my decision to make.
And that's the thing that will make you crazy if you're connected to the outcome.
Yeah.
If you're just obsessed with the outcome.
If you're obsessed with the outcome, if you are overly sensitive and you cannot handle rejection and, you know, and at first for a long time, you know, it bothered me. But the longer I was in the business, the shorter it bothered me. You know, because your family gets tired of hearing you complain about it. And I would say, you know what, that's it. I'm quitting. I am not doing this business anymore. I worked so hard and that was a great audition and I didn't get it. No.
Yeah.
And then I'd get another audition. I'd be like, oh, well, let me just see what
Maybe
it
I'll
is.
do it.
Let me see what it is. Let me see what the character is.
That's so true.
So, you know, after a while, my family was like, okay, Mom, we do not want to hear you complaining because you are not going to quit.
Yep.
So you just might as well accept it, that this is what I have signed up for.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think that's good for people to know, though, is that you are signing up for rejection.
Yes.
You're signing up for getting your butt kicked over and over and over again.
And if you're not grounded within yourself through your faith or, you know, whatever it is that works for you and your family, it will eat you alive.
Totally.
Yeah, so I'm not going to let that happen because life is too short.
Well, and you're past that phase.
I'm so
But
past
just for newer people.
But it's nice to be past that phase. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
And it took me a while not to be so intimidated. You know, you used to get intimidated by some of these big casting directors or directors. Are these stars? No.
Yeah.
No more.
Well, you know, there's a lot of insecurities out there.
Yeah.
And even for people that have been in the game for a long time.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of insecurities.
Absolutely.
And I feel like if you can break that.
Yeah. And that's by working on
so
yourself,
on
being self-reflective and trying to grow as a person.
Yeah.
And being able to look at yourself and see where I need to change and mature.
Well, I did a feature with well, I won't talk much about it because I don't want the person to be revealed who it was, but they were one of the leads in this feature. And they were so self-conscious, and you could tell day one it was like they were so hard to work with because the way that they were covering up their self-consciousness was being a prima donna and being rude to everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like you could just tell that they didn't feel adequate to be there.
Yeah.
And that was really sad. I was like,
sad.
you have a really good opportunity right now to star in a movie,
and
you're kind of burning bridges. Like, I could never work with that individual again.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people that are difficult to work with in this business, you know. Yeah, but it's a small world, and I certainly don't want to ever, burn any bridges with anybody if I can help it. And even if I'm doing a low budget film, because I love indie film, and what you were saying earlier about how our business has changed, I think that's why the indie market is growing so much. And I love independent film because there is a different vibe.
Yes.
And it's more of a collaboration,
yes.
Rather than just hit your mark, say your line, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. But I want to make sure that the talent that I'm casting has a good reputation of being easy to work with in this business. Because you start asking and they're like, oh, they're okay. Or,
Yeah, it's one thing to be just a solid actor, but it's another thing to have people say great things about you. Yeah. And that's how you really,
as a human being.
Just as a
and
person.
Whether or not you're a generous actor, and obviously that woman could not be a generous actor,
Right.
to the other person who's in the scene with her, because she's so preoccupied with herself.
So true.
And Dan Bright, who's a great actor in Orlando and has coached me off and on over the years, he loves to say, Susan, it's all about being interested in the other person in the scene rather than trying to be interesting. So it's better to be interested
So true.
than interesting. And I try to remember that.
Yeah.
Keep these little things in your back pocket.
Yeah, and when you make it about you and when you're thinking all about yourself, you're way less interesting.
Right.
You're way less fun to watch.
Yeah.
And you have a lot less fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, right? Is if you believe the conversation you're having and if
Yeah.
you're having a good time,
Yeah.
it just pops
Yeah.
on screen. And
Yeah,
that's like
that's a good point.
That's one of the keys to acting. It's like really believe it yourself and really
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a
Well,
dark
and
scene,
relaxing, but it's not always easy to do that. But relaxing is a big key.
Well, I say it like it's easy, right? But
I know.
it's the hardest
Yeah, yeah.
thing to do is have two cameras right here on your
Right.
face and
Right.
and you be like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it happens over time.
Yes.
Well, it's been awesome to talk to you.
Oh,
It's been good to see you.
I know. It's good to see you too. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Obviously we talked a little bit about kind of the changes that came to the industry. Talked
Yeah.
about a lot of the stuff that you've been in.
Right.
Where do you see things going? I mean, AI
know.
and technology
I
and things have changed a lot, right? The old Hollywood
Yeah.
is either going to evolve or
Right.
or something else,
Right.
right? So where do you kind of see things going over the
Gosh.
next few years?
I would love to see, this whole AI thing have some regulation.
Yeah.
Because it is so scary, not only for actors and people in our business, but just for our children and people who don't have the best of intentions, that are corrupt. So I'm just trying to be positive going forward, that people are becoming very aware of what AI can do. I mean, there's a lot of great things that it's already doing. I'm hoping and feeling that it may have tremendous breakthroughs in the medical field.
Yeah.
For spinal cord injuries and things like that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, at first I was just full of fear about it and very negative, but, it's just like with everything. This is happening. This is the way it is. This is the future.
Yep.
So, let's just try to do it smart. Let's be smart about it.
Yeah.
And use it to our benefit and have some regulation.
Yeah. Do you think it can be useful on set or in the process of filmmaking?
I think that it may. I think it cannot replace the creative process and the creativity that a writer brings to a story.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure maybe some areas in editing that it could be used, but I would be very careful in anything creative.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. I mean, I see it being used more in helpful ways in other businesses.
Yeah, I would love to see like in the coloring process, like
Okay.
matching colors.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
that's the hardest part for me. I do every darn thing. I write, produce, direct, act,
Good
edit,
for you.
film it, do all the. But
You're hired.
Yeah. Coloring is the hardest darn thing.
Is it?
And if you've ever
Okay.
been behind somebody coloring,
Right.
my gosh. Now, I was actually just at a master colorist's
Class?
in their studio.
Okay.
No, I went to he invited me to the studio.
Okay.
And he had like these really cool dials
Yeah.
and then like a ball within the dial. And he was using the dials and the ball at the same time, and he was coloring so fast.
Wow.
It made me so mad.
Wow.
Because I'm terrible at it. But it'd be nice
You're
to have
better than I am.
Yeah, right. It'd be nice to have an AI program that said, "Hey, I want this movie to have this feel and this
Okay.
look,"
Yeah.
and then have it like give you the right input. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Yes.
And I don't want to like
Yeah.
fire that person because
Right.
he's such a
Yeah,
freaking
we need to keep our
artist.
jobs,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But for people
For ideas. And,
for ideas, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
making LUTs for movies and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of cool, but it has to be limited. Like you said,
Yeah.
there has to be.
And I'm not a big regulation kind of gal.
No, I'm not either.
But this, because of the danger where it could take us, it's just, I think, we got to have common sense. We got to be smart.
Yeah.
And be very careful, and just, have some really smart people helping to guide this, because it is the way of the future.
I know.
I mean, it's just like
it's
crypto
taken over
and all
a lot
that.
of things. Yeah, I shouldn't say taking over, but it's starting to be pervasive in many different industries, many different lines of work.
But I think the Screen Actors Guild is very aware, and there's some very strong voices that have been out there of people standing up for actors and writers, and I mean, we all know that that it will replace us if we let it. But I don't think we're going to let it.
No, I don't think we're going to let it. And I think too, when you look at a story that's generated through AI, at least the current, I know it's going to get better and better and better as time goes on.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, they are clearly, they feel empty. They don't have the heart.
There's no soul.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're very soulless.
Yes.
They're very like cut and dry. It's like formulaic.
Yeah.
Which movies are formulaic?
So you can kind of start to spot a little bit of more of it in our business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the any of the arts.
Yeah.
Any of the music, movies, art,
fine arts.
Canvas art, right? Fine arts.
Yeah.
Dance, any of that. So I think it has to be, not rejected entirely, but pretty close to that, to where it's like, let's keep this one thing kind of not say. I don't want to use the word sacred, but it's like
protected.
Yeah, protected. Like people doing art is infinite. It's been going on since the beginning of time, and it will go on forever.
Right.
And it's kind of like a sacred thing.
Well, I kind of look at that. It reminds me of nature. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching that series that Kevin Costner's got out about Yellowstone National Park and how the national park system in this country came to be. And if we hadn't gotten involved in established national parks to protect them, we wouldn't have these beautiful landscapes and natural resources and these beautiful places. It's got to be protected. So, but we're evolving, and we've made some good decisions, we've made some bad decisions, but I think that, I hope, we're going to make a lot of good decisions, and AI is going to help a lot of people.
I'll pray with you in that direction.
Especially in the medical field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think
with all our diseases and stuff, because you've got all these different scientists working on all these different things, and pull it all together and go, okay, here's a cure for childhood brain cancer or something,
Yeah, I think it's kind of how I look at like CGI in movies.
Yes.
If it can enhance.
Yes.
Not recreate.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you see a movie and it's like, okay, this is 95% CGI.
Right.
There's something that we see in it that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
But when you see the real deal
Yeah.
and it's right in front of you, it's like, I connect with that. That's why I like these really CGI heavy movies. I don't connect with very well.
Right.
But I connect
with
like
feel
real
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it will weed itself out.
I think it will too.
Because I think people will
Because there's so many different other areas besides the arts that it
will be useful.
Yes.
I think it really can be useful.
Yeah,
exactly. And like doing things that it is impossible to be perfectly precise as a human. Like that's why that's why automation and robotics in like, putting machines together and stuff is so beneficial.
Yeah.
Because people aren't jamming their fingers in machines and breaking their arms anymore,
That's
right?
true.
Like
That's a good
machine's
point.
doing it.
Yeah.
So I think AI will kind of have those applications, hopefully,
Yes.
and then the other stuff we'll leave it out of. If we can.
Amen, brother.
If we can stop it. Now, last question. I know we're kind of at the end of our time.
Okay.
Where do you see your career going? Like, what would you love to see happen?
I would love to, I'd love to get to the next level, obviously.
Yeah.
Where
and what does that mean for you?
That would mean...
you've done big stuff. I mean, Marvel is just about the top of the freaking game.
Yeah, I mean, and Marvel was an unbelievable experience. I've never been on a set or had anything.
Quite like that, right?
Never, ever. It's just like, blows your mind. But anyway, to have regular work with good writing, opposite, great actors and wonderful directors. I just like to step it up and go to that next level and I'm being paid, where I can afford to do this on my own and not always work as a local hire and, just to be able to make a living and to do good work. I mean, that is my dream, is to do good work, and it all starts with the writing. And that's why AI can never replace that, because that is coming from the heart and the soul, and that's really my dream, is to be able to have opportunities to play these different people and challenge myself to slip into their skin. And I would like to be able to make some money as a producer and have some successful projects out there and be able to put that back into my production company, and eventually be able to really focus on the kinds of films that maybe I would like to do, or finance my friends' films. I mean, I know a lot of talented people, and I would love to be able to do that, to be able to help people that I care about and I believe in to get to that next level too.
I think we need to crack the code on distribution. I think there's a better way to distribute movies than it's currently happening. And I feel like that's the biggest bottleneck for me.
Okay.
In the filmmaking process. Obviously, getting the money is step one.
Right.
But once you've done that, the filmmaking process, if you have a competent team, can be done well at this point.
Right.
And there's a lot of talented people out there, as I'm sure you know.
Right.
But getting the money back and perpetuating the cycle is the dream, right? It's like, how do we make this happen a million times over?
Especially when you don't have any experience doing that.
Right.
And you see so many people making mistakes and learning the hard way of, well, that distributor didn't do a thing for me, or this one took this amount of money.
Money every time.
Exactly.
I know. Sustain that.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
We need to crack the code on that.
Okay.
We're going to figure it out.
All right, we're going to figure it out.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure just catching up, honestly.
I know. It's been great.
It's been too long.
Okay.
All right, Susan.
Take care.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Make sure you subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. Leave a comment so I know that you're there, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week on the next Make Movies Great Again podcast, as well as on this channel. Every single day nearly we have new uploads, trailer reactions, reviews, everything you want to know about the film industry. We're on the bleeding edge, so come join us and we will see you next time.